Now to day 16 of the government shutdown, a new round of negotiations expected this morning at the White House.
Sources telling ABC News that Democrats want specific details about how the money for border security would be spent. ABC's White House correspondent Tara Palmieri is at the White House this morning with the very latest. Tara.
Good morning, Whit. There's been a lot of talk, but not a lot of progress, and a pressure point is coming up. The first paycheck of the year for many federal workers is scheduled to go out on January 11th. And if they don't get that paycheck, you can expect that Republicans and Democrats will take the blame. On the 16th day of the shutdown, negotiations between the White House and Democrats still far apart. After this roughly 2-hour meeting between the vice president, senior advisor Jared Kushner, DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, and senior congressional staffers from both sides of the White House, the president tweeting, "Not much headway made today. Second meeting set for tomorrow."
I thought we had come in to talk about terms that we could agree on. We recognize that things like technology are important, border crossings are important, but certainly a barrier is important.
The Democrats say they won't continue negotiations until the White House presents a formal breakdown on how the $5.7 billion for border security funding will be spent. While the majority of the talks Saturday focused on plans for security rather than a budget, weeks ago Mulvaney signaled that the president would be willing to take less than half of his original asking price of $5.7 billion.
If you're at $5 billion on something and I'm at 1.3, and we're talking about money, maybe there is a place in between that we can compromise.
Despite losing leverage when the Democrats took control of the House, Trump not backing down from his initial demand. Democrats insisting it's not needed.
It's a wall between reality and his constituents, supporters.
The shutdown affecting 800,000 federal employees, either working without pay or furloughed. But the president claiming they support his fight for a wall, a battle he warns could last for months or even years.
I think if you ever really looked at those people, I think they'd say, Mr. President, keep going. This is far more important.
Furloughed Cam Perez, an assistant chief of counsel at Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, says he's tired of being a pawn on the political stage.
Whether it's a Democratic issue or a Republican issue, I don't think anybody at ICE wants to sort of be held hostage with it and be forced to work for free while this all plays out.
The shutdown has only added to the immense backlog in the immigration courts. Many of the cases from the past 2 weeks have had to be rescheduled to later dates, some years away, in a way undermining the president's zero-tolerance immigration policies. Dan?
Tara Palmieri at the White House. Tara, thank you. Let's bring in a ringer now. Our chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos, just back from vacation. He's going to be hosting this week, later this morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, sir. So as this shutdown drags on, we're going to see increasing political pressure and increasing human pressure as the toll rises on these workers, hundreds of thousands of them. Who do you think, which side is likely to feel the pressure more keenly, the president or the Democrats?
Actually, I'm not sure it's going to be either the president or the Democrats, but look at Republicans in the Congress. That's where the pressure is going to be. Tara pointed out that there's going to be, the paychecks are going to stop on January 11th if there's no solution. And that's not just Washington, D.C. That's Texas. That's California. That's Wyoming. That's Montana. It's all across the country. Already, 3 Republican senators have broken ranks and said, let's just open up the government and negotiate later. That's who you have to watch over the course of the next week. What happens to Republican senators, Republican House members, as they start to hear from constituents? Do they put the pressure on the president to come up with some kind of a deal?
Do you think there's a grand deal here to be done? But there's been talk of, let's help out the Dreamers, the DACA program, and you give me money for the wall.
In theory, that's one possibility. But right now, it doesn't appear that either the president or the Democrats are really interested in that deal. And I'm not really sure how this is going to end. Usually you can predict, as Mick Mulvaney was saying, that there's some kind of a compromise that can be reached. But the president has already rejected some kind of a deal that would go right in the middle on the money, about $2.5 billion. And he wants to be able to say that in some way he has a wall. Democrats just aren't going to go along with that.
On the show this morning, you have Julian Castro, used to be the mayor of San Antonio. He was also a cabinet secretary under Obama. He's expected to throw his hat in the ring for the 2020 presidential race as a Democrat.
One of 30?
Well, yeah, that was just going to say. So we've got maybe 30 people who are going to do this. When you have a crowded field, is that a good and healthy sign for the Democrats, or is it chaotic in a way that helps Trump?
I'm not sure it helps Trump. I think it depends on what happens over the course of the primaries and how they work out, how Democrats work out their differences in and whether the process creates a strong candidate. I think far more important for President Trump is what happens in his own party. We saw Mitt Romney unleash that broadside against him earlier this week, even though he said he's not running. One of the single most important determinants on whether an incumbent president wins again is whether he's challenged by his own party. Right now, no Republican has said, I'm definitely going in. But if somebody does, and it's a serious challenge, that's what to watch for.
People are looking at people at Governor Kasich or Jeff Flake. There are a lot of names out there. George, thank you very much.
Guys.
And I want to remind everybody, George has a big show this morning coming up. He's going to talk to two key power brokers in the new Congress, Armed Services Committee Chair Adam Smith and Republican Conference Chair Liz Cheney. That's coming up on This Week, later this morning, right here on ABC. George, thanks again.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.